Hello, creative friends. It's Madeleine de Toya. I just would like to share with you a little mix and make journal layout I did for Uniquely Creative. I have to say that the quality of this little album, the white paper, the thickness of it, it's beautiful. And I was very excited just to get started and get some color in here. I start off with just the white paper just so that I don't mess over everything. Today I'm using the new brand new unique color pigment powders from Uniquely Creative. These are so vibrant and beautiful and they work beautifully. That first color that I popped on I think is my favorite. It's the lavender purple, and I'm just going to spritz it with a little bit of water and look at the magic. It's just beautiful. It's got a little bit of blue in it. It is just lovely. Love it, love it. A little bit obsessed with that. I then just use some paper towel. I'm just going to dab some of the excess water off the page just because I didn't want it to be drenched. And I'm coming in with a second color. The second color that I made use of was the rose pink. It's also just so vibrant and beautiful. These pigment, all of the pigment colors in the range, I think there's 13 colors at the moment. They are just absolutely vibrant and beautiful. So I just lightly spritz that. And look at that. Love that the magic happened. Do you see why I put the white paper underneath? That just helps it so that it doesn't run on the new pages. I also just place my finger flat on the page, just because, when you do mixed media, when the paper gets saturated, then it does start lifting. So that's why I'm holding it down. I decided to go in with my heating tool just to speed it all up. It also helps to move it around a bit, carefully just drying it. I should have sped this part up for you guys. It's really boring to watch me dry something. Sorry. Love the whole effect of it. As you can see, the places where it's thinner, it dries lighter and quicker, and then obviously where there's more powder on the page, it's more vibrant. I decided to come in just with a paper towel. As you can see, it was quite wet still, and I did want to lift that a little bit because I want to go back with the rose pink pigment powder, just because I wanted some places to be lighter and others to be darker. So that's what I'm coming back with, the rose pink in the pigment powder. I'm just putting it in the spaces where I wanted more pink and more color, and I'm just going to lightly spritz that with water again. And you can see that it's kind of nice because you can build different layers of color, which I really like, so they don't bleed into each other. You can actually build it up, which I find quite cool. Come in with the heat tool again, just giving that a bit of a dry, holding my page down because I didn't want it to run. Now if you wanted to make like if you wanted to run, you can obviously move it and lift it, but I did not. I just wanted it to basically dry what you see here. I came in because there were some spots that needed a bit of dabbing. The powder is really vibrant, so just be aware that a little goes a really long way. Right, sorry, watching me dry. what I like to do, especially when I'm doing mixed media, on the reverse side of your layout or in the albums, try it from the reverse. That way it doesn't really affect the color on the other side, especially if you're working with other inks, like especially the distress oxides. They just dry nicer if you air dry them, and that's kind of like a cheat when you dry it from behind, because you're not placing direct heat on the actual ink. Next I'm gonna do some stamping. That is a small uniquely creative stamp, and I'm just coming in with some distress oxide, and I think that was the milled lilac, if I remember correctly, and I'm just going to stamp directly over the dried pigment powder that I've just put on that page. So you can see there's a bit of an impression there. It's very similar colors. I wanted it to be like really vibrant but also blend together. So that's the lavender color, and I'm just cleaning stamps, and then I'm coming in with a second color and another stamp in a minute. I'm using some black, and that again is a small, it's like a splatter stamp from Uniquely Creative. These are some older ones. I just have them in my stash. Love them. I use them often when I do mixed media. I like the splatter one because it just adds a bit of interest. So that's just in the black soot, also in distress oxides. The reason I chose distress today, because I was going for like a blended look, and when you spritz these with water, then they react, and I wanted that. I wanted it to be like not too prominent and have like a more blended effect. Cleaning the stamps, very good at that. Otherwise I don't like it when they have dried ink on them. And then I just came in and lightly spritzed it again, just so that that distress oxide can have a chance to react with the water as well, holding it down so it doesn't run. You can also use a little clamp if you have. That way you wouldn't have to hold it down. I just had the other paper underneath because I really didn't want it to bleed under. And also just, this was a experiment page, so I was just seeing how well the new album can hold water, and it's brilliant. After everything was dried, towards the end, my page was right back to where it needed to be. Even now, a few days later, it's dried flat and it's beautiful. So very impressed by that. Coming in with my heat tool, obviously just lifted a bit of water from the page that I didn't want there. I'm now going to remove that sheet because I'm happy that nothing will bleed under again. And I'm just setting that aside because I had an idea with these pigment powders. I've taken a cut off piece of white cardstock, and I'm using this one is a textured one, so I'm just using the smooth side on the back. The color that I'm spritzing or that I'm putting on the page here is the black, and I am just spritzing that with some water. Look at that. The colors are so intense and beautiful. it gave me like pinks and greens and obviously the black. It had some corals in there. I think this is the most beautiful, just the technique that it gives you. It's like a lazy technique. You don't have to do a lot to have like a wonderful background. I want to definitely try that on some bigger layouts as well, just because I think because of all the colors it could be really interesting. And then I'm just like really drying that really well. And the idea for this is that I want to run it through my I'm going to put a die on it and cut out a word that I'm going to use on my little layout. So that was the idea. I felt like that was just maybe a little bit too blue there, and I did want quite a black image. So I went back in there with some more of the black pigment powder. Beautiful. Love the way it came out. This is also just a quick, simple way to make your own. You can do this with chipboards. You can do this with. It's nice just to add a title to your page, and that was the plan. Yeah, I just wanted to have a title. There we go. I was happy with that. That's more black, more what I had in mind. When you are using a heat tool, try to lift it. That way, obviously it dries at the back as well, but if you're not using a glass mat, sometimes you can cause your other mats to burn. So that's just a handy little tip. Just lift it. I just removed the excess water on there. I did maybe over spritz this one a bit. We all tend to always want to really drench it, and you really don't have to. I'm just going on the reverse as well, just to keep it, to dry it nicely. Some of the cardstocks can take a lot of water, so that, which is a good thing, especially for mixed media, so that does take a little bit longer. I'm just gonna run this through. I'm using the word imagine, which is one of the die cuts from Uniquely Creative as well. Really sorry, cannot remember what collection it was from, because I store all of them together, especially if it's like thinner dies, just to save some space, because you know your stash gets big, and then I can't save everything individually. So I'm just going to run this through my die machine. If you have an electric one, then obviously you can use that. I just prefer the manual. I've had this one for many years, and it works really well. I love it. I love the Uniquely Creative dies because they cut so well. They always have really crisp, beautiful edges. I just recently got the magnetic platform for mine, and I think that was the best purchase ever, because your die does not go anywhere. It just keeps everything together, and look at that. A beautiful title. Custom made. Love it. Right, now that everything feels dry, I'm just going to use some of the Vellum Creative Cuts. Now, these are butterflies that I had left over from the Blossom and Bloom collection. Absolutely beautiful butterflies. I am a big fan of the Vellum Creative Cuts. I think I'm taking the backing off camera, sorry, but I know that Tracy did a little video just to show you how to do it. I normally just, I was smart. I finally got a little clip, which will make my life so much easier. I normally just use a little palette knife to just push between the vellum backing and the vellum cut, and that way it lifts it easier for me, just because I always have my nails done, and they are way too thick to get between. So this just makes it so much easier to do. Oh, there I am. I'm just removing the backing. And I'm just going to stick those down. They are so beautiful. The colors are just exquisite. And I felt like it would just work so well with this layout. When I put them down, especially if you're doing mixed media, just make sure that you rub them down quite nicely. That way there will be no bubbles underneath and they will not lift. They can also handle a bit of water, which is really nice. So even if you carry on doing more mixed media, they won't lift unless you're really drenching that page. If you're scared that they're going to lift and you just want them to stay exactly the way they are, I suggest that you take a paintbrush and maybe do like a matte gel in transparent just over it so that you basically glue them in there. Matte gel is basically like Mod Podge, if I remember. But I prefer using matte gel. So yeah, just rub them on there, make sure that they're nice and tight, no bubbles, and then you can carry on. This is just a stencil that I'm using. This is a stencil from my own stash. This is not a uniquely creative stencil. I just thought it would suit the idea I had with the butterfly so well. Even though I am not going to stencil through the butterfly on the stencil, I just clipped it down there. That works really well, especially with the 6x6s. That way it won't move at all. Now this is a lovely new product. It is white texture paste, and it is a part of the unique color range from Uniquely Creative. I am just going to open it up and I'm going to scoop out a little bit. I just work directly on my glass mat. I just saw that I have the backing of the butterfly underneath it, and this is the pigment powder from the pool pigment powder from Unique Color, Uniquely Creative. And what this gives you a little bit of magic. This adds shimmer. It's really hard to see it on the camera, and because it's a brand new little container, there's so much in the lid that I didn't even have to really scoop out a lot of the powder, which also just goes to show that a little bit goes a really long way. Look, if you look nicely, I just used a tiny bit. Obviously, if you wanted to shimmer more, you'll just use more pigment powder. And then I just used the back of my palette knife just to mix that through. But, oh dear, look, I only saw that now. Whoops. Because it's the see-through backing from the vellum cuts, I didn't see the little backing there, sorry. So just mixing that through, making sure that my pigment is beautifully mixed with the white texture paste. The texture paste is a thin consistency, which makes it really easy to mix, as you can see. So that's just basically what I do. With a thinner paste, you have to be quite careful. It's not like icing a cake when you're going through a stencil. The reason being is if you go back and forth too much, you're going to have bleeding, and that's what you don't want. So you want a nice crisp impression when you're done. By not going back and forth, you can have that. I could have probably mixed a bit more, but a little goes a long way with these. I had quite a bit left over on the actual stencil, so that's why I wasn't too concerned. And I just really wanted it to be this is not the main focus of the layout. It was just an accent. So that's basically how I put my texture paste through the stencil. And then my pro tip, lifting it really gently and you can, it's hard to see it on the camera, but there's a beautiful impression, and it's a little bit shimmery, so I love that, love it. Always working with a stencil is always very rewarding. Because this is normal white texture paste, I'm coming in with my heat gun. I'm just drying that. It dried really quickly. I was very impressed. It is very pearlescent and shimmery. It was so beautiful. It was a pleasure to work with. Low odor, went exactly where I wanted it, so really happy with that. I am not a messy scrapper. I don't like my hands getting dirty, so you'll see I sometimes look at these videos and think that I look like a cat that got their paws wet when I work with mixed media, so I'm a little bit silly. If you don't like getting your hands dirty, you know, you can always wear a glove. Just get some disposables. I actually do have some. I think I was too lazy to get them out this time. So that's just drying the page. Again, pro tip from the back, it just really dries it quicker. That way you don't have like funny bleeding through. And look at this. Mixed media girls, you'll know, normally if you're working in little albums, they do tend to bleed through. This has had none, zero, and it's quite vibrant colors. So I was really impressed with that. This little album just really held all the media I put on here really well. Just waiting for that to dry. Now, obviously you can leave it just like that, but I thought, you see the purple in the little butterfly wings? I thought maybe it would be a good idea to come in with that color. So you'll see I'm taking a bit long, sorry. I don't know what I was looking for. Oh, I did it already, sorry. On my glass board, I just put some purple iris pigment powder and I spritzed it with water. And what I'm doing now is I'm just picking it up with a paintbrush and I'm just making splatters on my page. Now that texture paste is, I would say, 80% dry. So what I'm going to get now, because it's not 100% dry in all the places, what will happen is that it will bleed onto the paste. So the paste will pick up some of the color. I decided to spritz it just because I wanted it to blend. So I've spritzed it with some more water and I'm just blending it in. It will basically run. So where the paste is dry, it will not color the paste. And then the spots where the paste is not 100% dry, it will actually color the paste. So that's just like something to remember. If you want the paste to color, do it when it's not 100% dry. If you don't want the paste to color, then make sure that that paste is 100% dry before you come in with any other colors. So just basically keep adding, spritz it with some water again, pick up whatever you don't want. Remember that, especially sometimes I get a little bit overwhelmed with the mixed media, especially if you're coming in with dark, vibrant colors like this. I'm just moving it around so that it can run in other directions just to add a bit of interest. Don't be afraid to lift off color, especially if you feel it's too much. And then I'm basically just going to dry and spritz some more as I go. When it comes on the edge of the page, just be careful because that's how you sometimes get it running onto your next page, especially because now I've also removed the white page that I had in between, and I'm using quite a bit of product here, and I've made it quite wet, so just be wary of that, especially if you don't want other pages to get colored. I mean, it's part of the mixed media fun. You can always then just carry on the next page, and but sometimes, especially if you want to use different colors, then you don't want it bleeding through. So that's just the only reason why I would suggest. I just wanted to add a bit of color. So this is what's nice. You are more in control if you're using a paintbrush by doing it this way. I could have come in and just dusted the colors on again and spritz it, but this way I get to basically put it where I want it, which just gives you a little bit more control. And now I'm basically just going to give it a good dry. There we go. Paper will go back to its shape, which is good to know. So don't worry if it warps a bit. Once you close your book, and especially once it's dry and you've placed a little bit of weight on the book, then it definitely does go back. So that's great. Oh, I got some of the purple at the back of my book on the outer page, so I was a little bit not too happy about that. I'm coming in now with the Seedless Preserves, the Distress Oxides again. These are my favorite Uniquely Creative stamps. These are also photopolymer, which really stamps crisp and clear. They are just beautiful quality, and I had these butterflies, so I pulled them from my stash and I thought, oh, I need to add a crisp, clear, stamped butterfly. I'm just basically deciding here where I want my butterfly and where I'm going to place that title. You'll see that once you stamp this, oh look, I decided to be smart. Once you stamp this, it is beautiful, crisp, clear. It is just it's amazing. I love the photopolymer stamps. They look at that. It's just amazing. No smudging, no blurred lines. It looks like you've drawn it on there. It's lovely, beautiful. I come back with another little stamp. Sorry, the in between waiting is me cleaning the stamps. I'm just coming back with a small, like a little butterfly silhouette from the side, and I decided that needed to go at the top. There we go. Nice crisp butterfly impression there. And then what I'm basically going to do is I'm just going to glue my title down onto my page. I just wanted to decide where to put it. I didn't want it to blend too much, so I thought that might be a better position, just because of the little butterflies, the vellum butterflies. The colors were quite similar, and that was my whole idea, but I didn't think that it would blend so well. So I'm just coming in with a clear glue, permanent clear glue, that I'm going to stick my image on, or my title, onto my page, and that will be my page complete. Nice dirty hands, had lots of fun. What I love about this product is that you can smash out like small little projects like this. I think this was like 30 minutes of just playing. Really loved it. Hope you enjoy it. Now just basically going to put some pressure on my book, stick that in there, and that's my final layout. Hope you love it. Thanks guys. Until next time.